Wow, I got a doozy for you today. Big thank you to our friend Ari Hoffman over at KVI for finding this video and watching this meeting so we didn't have to. Let's get to it in our segment, Unbelievable. Oh man. Okay. So obviously we have a homeless crisis, and we have this thing called the King County Regional Homelessness Authority that we were sold as like the fix-all regional response to our homeless crisis, and it was going to do good in every step of the way. They've just faltered and failed. There's a Seattle Times article the other day. The King County Regional Homelessness Authority isn't even like paying out contracts on time, which is risking even having service providers who want to work with them. It's a mess. We've also talked about how these organizations in the city of Seattle, when they look at who are they going to choose to lead efforts to solve this deep, deep crisis in our communities, they're obsessed with identity. Like, I swear they won't put someone on these panels unless they're transgender, a person of color, or have the right kind of quote unquote lived experience. And that is never more true than in the video that we're about to show you. But first, a little bit of background. So the meeting that we're going to play a clip from was a meeting of the King County Regional Homelessness Authority's Continuum of Care Board. So the voice that you're going to hear predominantly in the video is the co-chair of the board, Shani Colston. Okay, so they're going through and they're confirming nominations to this board that, again, is going to look at helping homeless people through the process of, being from homeless to housed. So the nomination that they're about to take up is the nomination of a man named Thomas Whitaker Raven Crowfoot. Now, they say that Thomas Whitaker Raven Crowfoot has a lot of lived experience, and apparently one of those is being a pedophile and a sex offender. And look, if you did the crime and you've done the time, certainly move on with your life. But a little information on what this Thomas fellow was convicted of, according to Ari Hoffman, in 2012, he was charged with raping a minor in a case involving a 15-year-old girl. He pled guilty to a lesser crime of communicating with a minor for immoral purposes. And then Ari says Seattle police found Whitaker living in a tent with a 17-year-old in 2018. So obviously didn't learn about I don't know how to put that lightly, not doing inappropriate things with minor women. So anyway, fast forward, it's 2023, and his name pops up on this list of people who could be nominated to serve on this board for the King County Regional Homelessness Authority. Except one person handling these nominations, and you'll hear her chime in, has an issue with this nomination because she says that Whitaker made her feel incredibly uncomfortable, and thus she has an issue with the nomination. I'll warn you, the audio quality is not great, especially when the screaming starts, because there is going to be screaming. But I just want you to listen to this full clip, again, of the co-chair, Shani Colston, yelling at this member who objected to a sex offender who made her uncomfortable being on this board. Watch.
Next is Raven Crawford, lived experience, emergency food and shelter board, representation of LGBTQIA2S+, American Indian, Alaska Native, Indigenous communities in chronic homelessness and domestic violence.
Yatahe, I second.
Yeah.
All in favor? Thank you.
Aye.
Aye. Any abstentions? Stina and Liz both abstain. And then are there any no's? All right. Next is Jaja Floyd, lived experience. And that was the wrong, what was the name of the membership? Sorry, Eli, what was the correction?
Homeless
Community Advisory Group.
There you go. Yeah.
Thank you.
Can I say something? We have a code of ethics on this board, and Thomas Whitaker Raven Crowfoot is a sex offender, a repeat sex offender, and I have had bad experience with him.
So I don't cut you off because we can't disclose people's personal business here, right?
Okay.
And although that's public disclosure, like we have no right to out anybody in this space.
Okay. I thought, thinking of
Right?
what
Like
you
that's just
stated.
not okay at all.
Okay,
And I won't
then I
stand for that as
apologize.
the co-chair.
No,
We're
we
not
don't
here
do
to
that here.
discover
No.
people's backgrounds. And actually, I'm glad that if that is the case, that he's here, because sex offenders are another population that is most vulnerable that don't have housing.
Okay.
People
I
do
have had
change
nothing
and
but
people
good
do
experience
She has
with
recovery.
touched me. She has touched me. So if there's a meeting where he's at, I
Christina,
will not
you
be able
need to
be
take
there.
this to the police then. Christina,
I have.
this is not the forum.
Stop, Christy. Christy, stop. As the co-chair, I'm telling
I
you
will.
that you cannot talk like that in this meeting. I will not have that here. If anyone wants to talk like that, you will be muted and then removed from this meeting, board member or public or not. This is about equity. And everyone deserves housing. I don't care if they're a sex offender. I don't care if they're black. I don't care if they're indigenous. I don't care if they're a criminal. I don't care if they're coming out of jail, prison. Everyone deserves housing.
Okay, Shanae, we got you.
No, it's not okay. That's the point. And so when we talk about a code of ethics here at the CLC board, we will be respectful of all people, all inclusivity. Everybody's here for the same reason, to end homelessness, because we've all been there. And it sucks, and it's a shitty place to be. But we are all human at the end, and we all deserve housing. It is a human right. It doesn't matter your background, your religion, your creed, your sexual orientation. I don't care about none of that, and nobody here should either. What we all care about is ending homelessness.
Shanae, we need to move on.
No, I'm telling you, I'm not moving on as the co-chair. I'm letting you know our code of ethics is that this is an inclusive space, and we are equitable to all.
I agree. Totally.
And that's not in disagreement.
Nobody's
there
disagreeing with
wasn't
that, but we do need to move on. This is
Yeah.
not the forum to
Christy, I
debate
need
that
you
right
to
now.
stop telling me what to do.
Okay.
No, I'm
Thank
part of this
you.
committee.
I get
I
that,
can.
but I don't need to
Recommendations.
I know.
comments.
I hear you.
Thank
I
you.
know, but yeah.
Let's move on.
Thank you.
Jaja is who we were on.
We were on Raven Crowfoot.
For eyes.
Did we approve Raven Crowfoot?
Raven Crowfoot was approved. We were on Jaja.
Thank you.
That is insane. That is, I'm sorry actually that you had to also watch that, but I knew you'd want to see it. Those are the people who are going to fix the homeless crisis. That one person is clearly unstable. And to say to this woman who says, hey, he touched me, and he's a sex offender, so if he's on the board, I'm not going to be at the meetings, and to have her treated the way she was treated for speaking up, and then this individual spends 2 minutes supporting this sex offender against the woman who says, hey, he touched me inappropriately. And they're supporting him because he brings important lived experience as a sex offender. And also in this whole lived experience thing about putting homeless people on the board. Like, are they still homeless? Because if they haven't figured out how to get themselves out of homelessness, I don't think that they should be on a board that's goal is to get other people out of homelessness. But again, this is one of the key issues with identity. When you're assigning people to these important positions that are supposed to, again, within the homeless industrial complex, supposed to make sense of this crisis that we're in, and you're doing it solely based on identity, and they've got this list that they're going through in these nominations, and it's fascinating to me because the whole list of nominees, it lists things that really don't have anything to do with their expertise on this issue. They're, listed representation, LGBTQIA2S+, American Indian, Alaskan, Native, Indigenous, Okay. What does that have to do with their ability to try to help homeless individuals and help end this crisis? Literally nothing. And the fact that everyone else on this meeting, when this Shani Colston was losing their mind like a child, the fact that you had other people in the meeting who were like, oh, okay, we get it. Yeah, we don't do that here. We don't discriminate. We don't out someone as a sex offender. If this is insane, how do you even make sense of this? Seattle is a parody. Seattle is a parody. That could have been like a Babylon Bee SNL skit. It's insane. And I'm sorry, reasonable, rational people have to push back against that and be like, we cannot allow someone with that temperament to be in charge of trying to fix the homeless crisis. And no, if there's a two-time sex offender who allegedly touched another woman who's going to work on this board and made her uncomfortable, no, he should not be on the board. That's absolutely ridiculous. She even said she'd already reached out to police about it. Come on, absolutely unbelievable. But frankly, nothing in Seattle is unbelievable to me anymore.